Okay, hello, welcome back.
Hi, everybody.
We are here and we are talking about the Great Forest Troll that Brian came up with and painted.
Yes, and here we see me putting on a little bit of a background. So I have the drawing is done and it's taped onto my board. And you can see to the left of me, well, there's a little bit of it. I have some forest reference that I'm using. And what I did is I put down like a little bit of a wash of blue sky. Just to give a slight background there, so I'm not painting him out of just complete white. And normally, Ben, we've been just painting the critters and things like that on with no background whatsoever.
Yeah.
But because the Great Forest Troll is so big, I wanted to give it a little bit of a background to show his size.
Yeah.
And so, even though the trees are on him, they could be little trees.
Yeah.
But I thought, if I put other trees around him, you could see that, oh, he's really big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. And plus, like, the trees are part of the character, right? So
Yes.
you can't really have him without them.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of keeping other trees nearby so that you have...
Give a sense of scale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sense of scale. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking a very dark green, and I'm just going to go through and put all that in there. And the tree reference I'm using is actually the Washington State tree. It's the western hemlock.
Oh.
Yeah, people didn't know that.
Hemlock, even better. Then
Yeah,
it works better for a monster.
Exactly. Because hemlock is poisonous, right?
Yes, exactly. So it killed Socrates.
Mm-hmm.
So, so are there any... Because it looks like you're just freehanding the trees here. Is there a trick to making it look
Yes,
like a tree?
I am freehanding those trees for the most part, because when I was working in comics, I had to draw so many trees, Ben. I've drawn literally entire forests out of my head, and so there's a couple of different ways to draw trees, and so we're doing a fir tree here, and if you did deciduous trees, which are leaf trees, it's a little bit different technique.
And so, as an artist, you have to learn the difference between, like, a
Yes.
coniferous and a deciduous. I know the adjectives involved with trees, but I don't actually know, like, what's what.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are evergreen trees, which means they're green all year. They don't change color.
Which works really well for this monster, which is a troll that sleeps under the ground and has trees grow on his back.
Yeah, he has this forest that grows all over him, and then when he wakes up, he's a little angry and a little hungry. He's got violence on his mind.
Yeah. The trees changing color could be interesting for him, too, because you get, like, a brown forest troll, and it's like,
you know what?
he's mad, and
That's a good
all the
idea.
leaves are coming off of him and stuff. Like,
You know, I really like that. Maybe I should draw another forest troll who's been sleeping under, like, I don't know, apple and pear trees or something.
or, like, a rainforest troll, who's, like, the tropical one.
That's cool, too.
He's got palm trees coming out of him.
I didn't even think of that. That's a great idea. Uh-huh. Yeah.
See, it's all stuff that comes up from just thinking about what kind of tree you put on his back, which is a decision that, like, as a writer, you don't really think about as much.
Yeah.
As, like, that's more of an art design kind of thing that because you got to paint it, you have to think about what kind of tree it is. When I write it, I just say he has trees coming out his back, and you picture that however you want.
Now here I'm putting in some tree shapes, but in a lighter green, so that it looks like it's in the distance. Right?
Yeah.
Now I should have done that first, because you paint from the background to the foreground, and I didn't do that. So at the last minute I thought, wait a second, I need some distance trees. So I just threw those in there because I wasn't thinking properly.
Mm-hmm. So when you've said before you kind of go dark to light, but if you go background to foreground and you want the light stuff in the background, then you have to do...
Yeah, so I went, I need to throw in a couple things in the background, which is fine because it's in the same color.
Sure.
But I just watered it down a little bit so it's lighter, and so it didn't really disturb my my painting very much. But usually, if you do stuff like that, you're running into some problems.
Yeah.
So I was able to avoid those problems by just painting those in with the same color.
Yeah. And so now we have a very green forest troll, which really messed us up because it's the same color as our green screen. And
I didn't realize that.
And I'm not good enough of a video editor to figure out how to separate him yet. So I just use this as the foreground in our video. Because when I put him up there, you could see you're in my arms and stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh boy, that's funny. I didn't even realize that. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking some black and I'm putting in some really harsh shadows here, and you can see, that face is really starting to come out at you. And you can see his back leg is thrown in the back and that front arm. So it gives us some more three-dimensionality.
And the extra darkness gives him more of a severe look, which is what you want with this guy.
Yeah. So now I'm going to start to throw in some highlights. And that's going to be a little bit different kind of green. There's going to be some yellow thrown in there, too, to give us a little more lively look.
Yeah, and you can see the yellow in the reference you have over there on the left.
Yes, on the left, it gives us quite a bit of yellow in those forest drawings.
But that goes in with like the lights and the highlights that you talked about before.
Yeah. So again, we've put in our darks and our blacks, and now we're putting highlights over the top. And we're going to see that face really start to come out here in a little while.
Is that kind of like the rewarding part when you're painting, like, because it kind of all is one color for a while, and then
we call it the creepy state, or the creepy time, where, man, this painting could end up in the garbage or end up on somebody's wall. So it could be good or bad at the end of this. We don't know yet. So
don't give up on your painting halfway through, kids.
Yeah, a lot of times you get scared. And if you stick to the formula, 90% of the time, everything's going to work out fine.
Yeah.
But if you start, going back and forth and dabbling here and start doubting yourself, it usually ends up in the garbage. And then you have to do another painting.
Because it doesn't adjust your deadline.
Yeah, it doesn't adjust your deadline. Or your paycheck. Right? It's like, hey, I painted this thing 6 times. Well, you only get paid this much, kid. Too bad for you. Should have done it right the first time. Go back to art school.
Go back to art school. Gosh, I love the foliage and stuff coming out of it. It's almost like a lion mane.
Yeah, I had this like kind of beard almost thing on him too, which gives him that troll look, more of a Scandinavian kind of troll look. So, and being half Scandinavian myself, I cater to that kind of stuff.
I wrote a book about Vikings, right?
Oh, yes. You're juiced in, Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're putting on the lights and stuff now. And a lot of kind of mossy ferns and things like that, too.
Yeah, the underbrush and the shrubs.
Yes.
And...
And you can see when I go back to look at it, you'll see on the left-hand side I have that book open. It's actually a rainforest here in Washington State.
Yeah, over on the Olympic Peninsula. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And the photographer of this book was a guy named David Munch, and I have many of his books, and I use them constantly for reference.
So you have to have a good library as an artist.
Yes. Yes, you do. And now I'm touching up some of the edges here, and we're almost done.
Yeah. Really starting to pop out.
Put his teeth in there.
Yep. Gotta get the teeth in there.
Yeah, and there we go. There's the giant forest troll.
Yeah. And then we have a whole video about this guy, and I'll put a link to it in the description of this video, and you can go check it out.
There we go. Thanks for watching.
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you guys.